up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hey, hello, my name is Angela and I make videos about law school, lawyer life, and all things in between. Today's video is going to be a video talking about how to ace your legal internship. You guys, we are in early May and I know a lot of you guys are finishing up finals or just started finals and are going to be heading into your summer internship programs. So today's video is going to give you some tips and tricks on how to make that experience the best experience possible. This is going to be applicable for any type of legal internship, whether you're working at a law firm, whether you're working for a judge, whether you're working at the DA, anything legal related. These tips are likely going to be helpful for any law student, okay? Before we jump into the video, please go ahead and make sure you hit that thumbs up button so YouTube knows you like this content and you want to see more. Also, please hit the subscribe button if you are a returning viewer or if you enjoy this content and want to see more. Our first tip is to network within the organization and treat everyone kindly, no matter their status, okay? So one of your main goals in working in that organization is to make connections, okay? Make some connections, build relationships with people, and make sure you treat everyone with kindness. So for example, if you are working in a law firm, you need to not only try to impress partners, you need to be connecting and treating associates well, paralegals well, legal assistants, office staff, janitors, everyone, okay? Treat everyone with respect and make sure you build relationships with people within that organization. That will be key with people remembering you, saying good things about you, and you just overall having a positive experience within that organization during your time spent in the internship. Okay, so the next tip is to seek real and practical opportunities. A lot of people take these internships and they say, you know, I'm not a real attorney, I'm not doing real work, and they might not take it as seriously. But I will say, from my experience, you actually do get exposure to real work, and a lot of your work is turned in as work product to a client or, you know, whoever the work product might go to. So definitely make sure you're seeking good work opportunities. Another thing on that is just make sure you understand the work being done and ask questions if you need to. So for example, if you're working in a law firm, make sure you know what type of practice areas they practice so you can seek out that type of work. If you want the opportunity to draft some sort of motion or just any questions you have, the takeaway here is to seek as much exposure to the practical real work as you can so you can get a feel for the type of work being done there and so you can gain skills and knowledge during your time there. The next tip is to ask questions, okay? Ask questions about the work being done, about the end goal, about the purpose, about the objective. Another big part of asking questions is ask questions when you don't understand, particularly when you are being assigned, you know, a project, okay? It is okay to ask clarifying questions to make sure you understand exactly what is being done. Like I mentioned previously, a lot of times your work will end up being work product. You know, several people might look over it and review it and make comments to it, but it will likely end up being work product used to give to the client or whoever the product is going to. So make sure you ask questions so you can provide the best work product you can. Also, another tip on questions. When you get an assignment, you're there with the person giving you the project. It's a good time to ask questions there. Also, when you go back to your desk and you're looking over the full picture of the assignment and digesting everything, it's a good idea to get all your questions out. One thing I like to do is I don't like to piecemeal my questions. So I'll take a first run and make sure I fully understand what it is I'm supposed to be doing and make a full attempt to do that and then ask questions after that. Because what you don't want to do is ask a question and then 10 minutes later ask a question and then, you know, 2 hours later another question. So try to get all your questions kind of not out at once because there might be several times you have to follow up, but don't piecemeal them. With that being said, though, don't sit on something for 24 hours or 48 hours knowing you don't know and you need to ask questions because you're too scared to ask questions. So definitely always seek clarification and understand exactly what is being asked of you to do. The next tip is to get a feel for the culture and work environment. You want to make sure this is something that you like, a place that you like, because you can ultimately end up seeking a full-time job there. So make sure you get a feel for the people, the culture, how things are. Now, I will say that, you know, in a summer internship, a lot of times people will be putting their best foot forward, but you can always read between the lines You will know by interacting with people and, you know, your temporary colleagues, you will know. So make sure you get a feel for the culture and just see if it aligns with what you want your work environment to look like. That would be very, very important for those of you who are possibly seeking full-time employment with that entity or organization that you are working for. The next tip is appreciate the opportunity to get exposure to the legal practice, even if it's something that you don't necessarily like, okay? If anything, see it as an opportunity to weed out areas that you know for sure you don't like, as well as just build up your legal resume and get more knowledge and skills in the legal profession. For example, myself, I am a tried and true corporate attorney. I love transactional work. I have really no interest in doing litigation type work. Writing briefs, legal research, those just kind of are not my jam per se. However, I did take opportunities in law school to do things like employment law, and I did family law. I did a family law internship, and I kind of knew that it wasn't for me really quickly. However, I took that opportunity and I thrived in it, and I did my best and I gave my all, and I saw it as I am glad that I tried that out. I got exposure to it. I learned a little bit. I saw some really cool cases, and I know for sure that that isn't for me. Even if you get into something and you realize it is not what you want to do for the rest of your life, still see it as an opportunity to learn, gain knowledge, and like I said, weed out what it is you don't like. The next tip is seek feedback on your work product, okay? There will be some people that you work with who are really good about this, and there will be some people who will just give you a project, you turn it in, you don't know what happens to it, they'll give you another one, a repeat cycle. I would encourage you all to take that initiative to seek feedback on your work product, to get constructive criticism. You might even get compliments, but seek feedback because that is how you learn. You know, sometimes when somebody points out something to you, it clicks and you never make that mistake again. Also, it's a good opportunity to take feedback, implement it into a new project, and show them that you learned from that feedback that they gave you. So always seek feedback, even if people don't automatically give it to you. Take the initiative to go back and say, hey, can we talk about this brief that I drafted? And walk through it with them and just take that opportunity to learn and do better next time, or keep doing something great that you already did that they gave you a compliment on. The next tip is be social. You guys, there is a social aspect to legal internships. It's not just about the work. Although the work is very, very important, the exposure, all of that is very, very important, there is a social aspect to it. And like I said in the beginning, you should be trying to network and get to know people as much as possible. So if there are social events, which there likely will be, especially if you're working at more of a law firm setting, there definitely will be, and I'm just saying that from experience. Go to those social events. It's really, really important. That's how people get to know you, recognize your face and your name, and able to say good things about you and recommend that you come back, get a full-time offer, and things of that nature. That's also where you start to build relationships. So my advice would be go to social events, walk the halls, and talk to people, say hi to people, ask people to coffee. Just take that initiative to be social. And for my introverts out there, I know this is not in your nature, but it is a good opportunity and you will not regret it. And the next tip is to express concerns about your workload, whether that be you have too much or too little. So if you have too little work, don't be afraid to say, hey, I would love to see X type of work, or I would love to have the opportunity to work on this project. If you feel like you have too many assignments, don't be afraid to let people know you have too many assignments. Sometimes people get really, really busy and they're just like, oh, let me assign it to an intern. They're not always going to be tracking who's doing what and who has what assignments. So if you have 5 assignments all due by Friday, obviously that's going to put a lot of pressure on you. So don't be afraid to express those concerns. And I would say the first person to go to would be if they assigned you kind of a mentor, I would go to them, or I would go to the recruiter, the HR person that is wrangling the interns. I would go to them and express those concerns. But don't be afraid to express those concerns because you want to give good work product and you want to not, overwhelm yourself too much. However, with that being said, you likely will be juggling more than one assignment at a time. So I wouldn't necessarily say, oh, I already have an assignment I can't do anymore. Do show that you have the ability to kind of multitask and stay on top of your assignments, but don't be afraid to speak up if you need more or need a little bit less. Next tip is to connect and build relationships with other interns. Sometimes people will see another intern, their competition. So they'll be trying to one-up them or make sure that people like them better or think they're just as smart or whatever. I would not take it that way. I would absolutely see the other interns as your support system, as your colleague, and build relationships with them. Those will be the people you can lean on when you just maybe don't feel as comfortable, or you feel confused, or you feel a little out of place. Those will be the people you will likely be the closest with, because you guys are all kind of going through it together. So I would absolutely not do anything to isolate yourself from them by being too competitive, okay? Also, you never know if you might work with them in the future or cross paths with them again. The legal community is very small, and you just never know what those relationships could turn into. So always try to connect with people and just don't be too competitive. The next tip is to have a positive attitude, be enthusiastic, and show your personality. Again, yes, the internship is about, you know, showing your work, showing you can do good work, showing that you're a hard worker. But people also just want to get to know you. You know, you've already sent your resume in, you've already shown your grades, you've already shown that you have the capacity to do the sort of substantive work that the job requires. But people also want to get to know you, and they want to find you relatable, and they want to know that you fit in the culture, and they want to have a good time with you and really build and connect with you. Have a positive attitude and be enthusiastic about the work and the opportunity. That sort of positive energy will always get you far and really will allow you to kind of set yourself apart, because everybody loves that person who is positive and enthusiastic about learning and challenges and things like that. So definitely show that side of you. The next tip is to adopt a work routine. You guys, this one is pretty big, because in law school, we kind of get into this routine where we live sort of like an extended college life, except we study more than we did in college for the most part. But during the summer, you will be sort of having this sort of 9-to-5 job life. And so I think it's a good idea for you to adopt sort of a 9-to-5 job life routine. So, you know, you wake up, you drink your coffee, you go into the office, you come home, you work out, you do dinner, whatever it is, but adopt a routine that will allow you to kind of get used to that working life, because it is going to be different than what you're used to in law school, and also prepare you for what it's going to be like when you are out of law school, when you graduate and get out into the real world. The next tip is to be on time, okay? And this is gonna vary for different people, because, you know, not every place is gonna have a show up time. So like if you're working at a larger law firm, there's not really a start time. So I would just kind of adopt the people in your floor, wherever you're seated, around you. But for other types of internships, there is likely gonna be an expected time to be there. So if you're supposed to be at work every day at 8:30, make sure you're on time. I saw a meme recently, and it was relatable to me because I'm super timely, but it was basically saying like people who use like their untimeliness as like a personality trait, or like, oh, that's just how I am, like I'm never on time. And they basically were saying like, you know, that's like a toxic personality trait. Like it really just shows you have no regard for other people's time. And timeliness is super important, especially when you're trying to make a good impression. So make sure you're on time. The next tip is to take this opportunity to show your professional skills. Again, unlike law school, kind of office 9-to-5 type culture is a little bit different. So when you're doing email communication, make sure you're keeping it professional. You guys know on this channel, I keep it very lax with you guys, and I use my slang and all of that. But you know, when you're in a work setting, things are different, and you should be professional in your communication, especially your written communication, or if you're ever put in front of, you know, a third party or a client facing type of exchange, you should definitely keep it very professional. This is a great time to show any writing skills you may have. Show what you learned in legal research and writing class. Also, another great skill to show is your attention to detail. That skill is so important for lawyers. So if you do have that knack, make sure you just take the opportunity to show your professionalism and those types of skills that you already have, whether that be in your work, your email exchanges, any opportunity you can to kind of highlight that. I would go ahead and do that. The next tip is to use this experience as an opportunity to build your resume. So if you have research assignments, brief assignments, writing assignments, definitely keep those assignments and save those assignments for your writing sample. If there's any sort of legal volunteer opportunity that the organization is participating in while you're there, I would absolutely jump on it. Anything you can do that you can kind of speak to on your resume later, I would make sure to jump on it so you can add it to your resume later. And also for all of the assignments that you do, I would start like maybe a Google Doc with tracking everything you've done so you remember what you did while you were working at that internship so you can add it to your resume later when you're doing your resume. The next tip is to seek a mentor or legal role model within the organization. Now, I'm a firm believer that mentor relationships are best when they're organic. And so sometimes, you know, whatever organization you are in will assign you a mentor, but sometimes you just naturally click with people. So if you find somebody that you look up to and they practice exactly what area you want to practice, or you just like their style, or you just feel like you can learn a lot for them, I would, you know, kind of work on trying to build that relationship and build that mentor relationship. Within every profession, including the legal profession, having a mentor or a role model can really, really kind of change the trajectory of your career, because they will give you insight and knowledge and guidance that you otherwise would not have received. So I would definitely seek a mentor or legal role model within that organization while you are there. So my last tip for you guys is to stay in touch. You guys, throughout this video, I've been talking about building relationships, making connections, whether that be with, you know, partners, managers, other interns, whoever you make relationships with throughout your time in the internship. Stay in touch with those people. Nobody's expecting you to talk to them every day, but make sure you add them on LinkedIn. Make sure you have their information. Reach out every few months. Take them to coffee. Ask them to lunch. Do all these sorts of things to keep in touch, because like I said already, the legal field is a very close-knit community, and you never know who you might run into, who you might be able to refer to, who might give you opportunities. You never know. So the connections and relationships that you build today could absolutely turn into positive opportunities, relationships, and so much more later. So you always want to stay in touch. All right, you guys, so those are all the tips I have for you today. I really hope somebody found this video helpful. I'm really excited for you guys to go ahead and kill your legal internships this summer. For those of you who this is going to be your first internship, I want you to take it. I want you to be excited about it, and I want you to give it your all. I know it's probably super nerve-wracking. You're probably racking your brain wondering, what is this going to be like? Can I do it? You can do it. You'll do great. It'll be great. It'll be the first of many. And so enjoy it, and make sure you take these tips along with you and come back and let me know how they helped. So with that, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.